Morning, morning, morning all. Morning, Daniela. Um, Maria, Gani is morning, morning, Anna. Sha, morning to you, Cyril, Mia, Selena, Koshi. Good morning, guys. Selena says, I see you behaving not yet like yesterday. Yes, sir, Brian back Broadman. Morning, Daniela Williams, G Dimples, morning, Earl Tippin, Ruben Rogers, Anon, morning to you. Neil Francois, always here and present. Morning, sir. The real Raga, morning. Morning, Rena, Pauline Buckmeyer, Julia Spooner, Cheryl Mitchell, morning. Leon Joseph, morning. Desmond, morning. Ruth Trude, morning to you. Ruth Fronten, morning. Daniel Knights, good morning, sir. Compliments of the season to you as well. Good morning to His Excellency, the President of Pleasantville, Nigel O'Connor, and First Lady Mauricia Kagan. Yes, sir, I ran into somebody yesterday. I just happened to be in Valpark there to use the ATM. And yes, it was fortuitous that as I stepped out same time. Yes, so morning to you guys. Keelan, morning, Nicole Caesar, morning, Nicole, morning, Carol. Yes, I'm much better today. Um, all of the remedies that were suggested, I've tried most of it. So it seems to be finally kicking in. This is the absolute worst cough I've ever had. Whatever this virus is, terrible. Morning, Jen. John Edwards, morning. Esther Blake, morning to you. Clay Carrington, morning. Blessings to you, Julia. Right. Marion Devines, morning to you, Claudia Jeffrey. Thank you so much. Morning, Maria. Winston Jack. Demetri McEwen, morning. On this, the 24th day of December 2023, 1 week left in the year, and I know most of you are probably, well, a lot of you, let me see, not most, probably doing your last minute things in preparation for tomorrow. Nicole says the hospitals in New York City are filling up with this RSV spreading like wildfire. Yes, someone missing morning to Jeanette McDonald. Jeanette was in New York recently and she got it and she had to be hospitalized. It's terrible. She's telling me that there was a bit of a wait because of the amount of people that was what we consider accident and emergency person showing up with respiratory distress because of this flu. Angie Sherry, morning. Which one to play first, baby? So let me get this here. Season's greetings to you, Maria. Yes, John Wayne called me to come and well, I thought it was the normal barbershop. I wasn't prepared for what they had for us. And I must say that the ministers, Pilau, trust me, it was no exaggeration. The minister he has some skills in the kitchen, definitely. Marvin Gonzalez, that Pilau really lashed the consistency, everything. It was on point. It was on point. So whenever he leaves politics, if he decides to open a restaurant, a local cuisine restaurant, he would do well. And Dr. Atz, that corn and baked pork, Lord have mercy. Two of them definitely need to team up and do something. So we look forward to the next one. I think we haven't confirmed yet, but they said it will be sometime around. They're looking at the Saturday But before Carnival, the Saturday with Calypso Fiesta. So that is to be confirmed. And the barbershop posse will certainly be there. Um, Living Legacy Pharmacy Arena. Okay, thank you so much, Carol. Why is Facebook saying slow connection? Yeah. Yeah, with dust too, and then sleeping in AC. I tried. It's difficult. It's difficult not to sleep in AC when you get accustomed to it. Huh? Yeah. Maria says, John Wayne, that's my boy. He just let me hell, but I love him. Yes, John is a good one. Definitely a good one. But we see what 2024 brings, with respect to the barbershop. Who knows? You might see me a little more often um, on the barbershop. But it was a good day yesterday. We made new friends, Juanette and Massi Miranda. When we left, she was still looking for crazy glue to fix her toenail and her left big toe, acrylic nail, which got damaged in all the dancing. And she said she don't know how she make it out because she had 2 gigs to do yesterday afternoon, last night, and she couldn't go with 9 good toes and one in a mess. Um, so I'm not gonna stay too long today, and I don't wanna. Well, let me not say I wanna. Um, I say I don't wanna make it too heavy, but I mean it's a week. I didn't have. I wasn't on for a weekend. A lot of stuff happened, but there's just a couple of things that stood out for me that I thought to be, glaring, and I just thought I would touch on it um, just a little bit. 'Cause I don't want to take up too much of your Sunday and your Christmas Eve as you make final preparations. I just throw my salty ham, my tar ham in the oven there. So that'd probably be the sum total of my preparations for tomorrow because I will be heading off to Parliament to have lunch with my family, as I always do. I wouldn't be on telling you all in advance. I wouldn't be on Tuesday. Tuesday, of course, being my birthday, even though I don't really celebrate it. I'm usually out and about on the 25th and the 26th of December. So when you all don't see me on Tuesday, that is the reason why. But God's willing, Tuesday, um, he will be back. So let me get into it. I need to run this thing here. Shows this one connected. Just as I thought. So we had some things that happened last week, right? Most notable, of course, is the license, the 30-year license that was granted for the. You see, Juliet says all the fuss is over in a few hours, and it's back to reality. That's all right. That is what makes it. Yeah, we have to remember Christmas is not just one day, but it's a season. Get this here. What this thing is, boy. Just now, give me 1 sec. Let me just pull this thing up here. You all know I always say if you have to lie on the government, oh gosh, at least make sure that the lie is administratively. That the lie is well hidden, right? Just let me get this here. Let's connect this thing here, and then we cook it. Right. So we had all the thing last week with Massi and the necromancy or whatever it is, as some people sort of make it out. And we saw all the bacchanal, all the memes on Facebook and so on with respect to Massi and this revelation by one of their senior executives about the use of a company in Florida to train the executives. And we heard that some of the things involved in this training may be communicating with the deceased as well as healing through white light and all of these different things, whatever that is. And the furor was about the fact that it was announced that Massi spends between 500,000 to $1 million US a year on this training. But subsequent to that revelation, we saw there were, the bacchanalists who decided to go and do their research to see which other companies also utilize the services of this training company based out of Miami. And it was an interesting list, one of which I saw is Blue Waters. Interestingly, nobody making fuss. Everybody talking about you had a boycott Massi and all of that. But while they're still drinking, so they have no problem with Blue Waters using the same training services. That was one of the names. I don't know, but it was one of the. There was neither confirmation nor denial from um, Blue Waters, but that was one of the companies that I saw on the list. And if that is in fact the case, one wonders. We're talking about boycotting Massi and Massi thing, but we still buying the big gallon and stuff from Blue Waters, or they still have all the Blue Waters. So what's the issue with Massi? I'm pretty sure Blue Waters is more 1% than Massi, right? Because we know the owners of Blue Waters certainly are in fact traditional 1%ers. Massi, on the other hand, is contrary to what is put out there by a lot of the uninformed, misinformed, is not a 1% company, as they like to call it, because Massi is a publicly traded company, and anybody can buy shares in Massi. Any citizen of Trinidad and Tobago, regardless of creed, color, race, class, once you have a little kakada and you could afford to buy some shares, you have some money to invest, and you're looking for a good investment that could pay you some good dividends, you could go on the stock exchange, you go open a brokerage account, and when shares become available, you could purchase Massi shares. So, but we know what that other party, the foolishness that they like to say. So they had their press conference, waste another one of their many waste of time press conferences. So the Sunday morning waste of time, 3/4, 1.5 question on a good Sunday press conference is not enough. So now we getting it. Sunday morning press conference, Monday night forum, we having midweek press conference on a Wednesday, we jamming us Thursday too. Yeah, right now the propaganda machinery from that party is full speed, fully activated. Yeah, so but they had their press conference, another one of their waste of time. I think this one was on Friday. Wade Mark was there and he wanted to speak to the issue of the Massi matter, right? And the Forex and this wastage of precious Forex in this country. Anyway, but it's not so much that is what I wanted to do. I want you all to listen to, as I said, if you're going to lie, make sure the lie is well hidden. And there seems to be no limit to the lies that these people would tell. But listen to Wade Mark.
Potter has now been sent on administrative leave by Massi. But we have a stake in Massi because we are shareholders in Massi. And that is why we have raised this issue. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to remind you that at Massi, there are some 3 state-owned companies that have interests, that have shares in Massi. So whatever Massi does will impact upon us as the final shareholders in Massi. I'm talking about the people and the taxpayers of Trinidad and Tobago. The National Insurance Board owns 20 and more percent shareholding in Massi Holdings Limited. The Unit Trust Corporation of Trinidad and Tobago has large shareholdings in Massi and in the Republic Bank. Let me remind the people of this country that Republic Bank has almost more than 50% shareholding in that company. called Massi. NIB alone has 26%. 26%. Then you take on board the National Investment Fund, NIF, another 16%. And then you take Corporation Soul under the Kiko Investment Fund, another 6%. So when you tally our ownership in Republic Bank, it is close to 50%. And here it is, Republic Bank is a major stakeholder in Massi. So hence the reason we have a direct interest in what goes on at Massi, because we are shareholders in Massi. And we are
Right. So I mean, you could also do so much of this man. Yeah, you could only tolerate so much of this man on this day, right? But I played that for a specific reason. You heard him say there that that's not. Let me get it here. He said the National Insurance Board owns 26% of Massi. Unitrust has a major shareholding in Massi. Republic Bank, he said, owns over 50% of Massi. So if we just add National Insurance Board and Republic Bank, based on what he said, that is 76% at least, right? He said Public Bank own over 50%. Well, let's work with the 50. 50 and 26, that's 76%. And then he tell us about NIF and some other thing and stuff. So basically, the government owns Massi because if we listen to Wayne Mark, based on those figures that he called for you all there, it means that the government of Trinidad and
Tobago taxpayers
owns probably 80% or more of Massi. I always say, as I said before, if you're going to lie, make sure the truth is well hidden. And I don't know what it is about these guys that they just love to lie. Just so. Is either they are inveterate liars, which I'm inclined to believe, or I should put it, they're just intellectually lazy. Somebody needs to let Weidmark and these other guys know from that party that we live in 2023, not 1923, where when you say something, you could be shown to be an inveterate liar almost immediately with something called fact checking. That's why we have the internet. That's why we have Google, you have Yahoo, and a host of other search engines. So if it is you hear something that you're not, that is something too kosher, you could go to any one of these search engines, type in the information you're looking for, and you could get it. So he says that the NIB owns 26% of Massi. I don't know where you get that from, because my research says the NIB owns 20.01% of the shareholding in Massi. Contrary to the 50% figure that he says Republic Bank holds in Massi, based on my research, Republic Bank owns 198,190,210 shares, which accounts for 10.01% of Massi holdings, not the 50+% that Weidmark just told you they own. He said the Unitrust has major shareholding in Massi. Unitrust owns 4.507% of Massi. So I don't know if in that party they consider less than 5% to be major. But this is what my research is telling me. Unitrust only owns 4.50%. Republic Bank owns 10.01%, not 50+% as Weidmark just lied blatantly and told you all. And it's not 26% holding for NIB, it's 20.01%. But the supporters are always quick to talk about it. Oh, Rowley is lie and Row liar. You ask them what did Dr. Rowley lie about? He said he wasn't closing Petrotrin and he closed down Petrotrin. Anything else? Right? They can't see the liars in their party. I played for you all, I think it was last week or so, where when Dr. Rowley had his press conference and he spoke about, the question was raised with respect to the Commission of Inquiry report into the barrier issue. And the Prime Minister would have indicated, and I played that for you also, you all heard him say that the report would come to Cabinet would review it, and then subsequent to that, it would be laid in the Parliament. The Prime Minister said that. But while the Prime Minister was still talking, the dog liar decided to do a live, and as you all would have recalled, which I also played for you, in which he claimed that the Prime Minister just said that the report would not be laid in public and it would not be laid in Parliament. Far cry from what it is you heard the Prime Minister say. Throw your mind back to their political leader, who has on many an occasion been very dishonest. But we would recall earlier this year one of the most glaring acts of dishonesty when on a Monday night forum she made the claim that the government had just last week increased the price of flour by 33%, and they're so wicked. And Karma, just 1 week later, in the most fantastic of ways, showed her too to be an inveterate liar when we saw the price of flour fall by some 13%. So the main suppliers of flour in this country, Nutramix, Flour Mills, Sheikh Lisa, and so on, announced that they were decreasing the price of flour, reducing the price of flour by some 13%. But the supporters don't remember these things. You know what? Because everybody in the PNM is liars. There are no liars on their side. No, they are the paragons of virtue and honesty. They don't tell lies. No. No, they have the country's best interests at heart. And anything that comes out of their mouth, you could take it as gospel and you could take that to the bank. These are the people who are telling you, put us back in office in 2025 and we will give you good governance, honest governance. But simple things, they can't give you the truth about. So you will come on a national platform of sorts, because this was on social media. It was shared a number of times. It was a live broadcast. And shamelessly come and lie. And this is the excuse they came with. It was just like last year when Angostura had the art exhibition at Millefleur as part of the patriotism series that the government had to mark this country's 60th anniversary as an independent nation. And there were 3 art exhibitions on that stretch. Angostura had theirs at Millefleur. I think FCB had theirs at Whitehall, and the other one was, what was the other one? There was a third one at Stallmeyer's Castle, which was Central Bank. So I think Central Bank was at Whitehall, and the other one at Castle Killarney, also better than Stallmeyer's Castle. And Angostura took the decision that for the close off of the entire patriotism series, that they would have a special event at Millefleur to mark the country's 60th anniversary and also to close off the art exhibition. And they would have utilized the services of Brian McFarlane to create a period event where persons, you would have seen the persons who were serving and so on, were dressed in the garb, the outfits that would have prevailed at the time that Millefleur would have come into existence. Complete with white horses and carriage and all of these different things, right? And the UNC had an issue with that. Somebody passing or somebody who was invited decided to tell the leader of the opposition. You all recall, she came and made a big issue, put out a whole press release to say that Angostura using taxpayers' money. Government took taxpayers' money to host this lavish party for their friends, family, and financiers while people suffering. And the government, the Prime Minister came out and said, there's no truth in that. The government had no hand in that. His presence there was solely as the feature speaker. He was invited, but the cabinet of Trinidad and Tobago did not organize or spend any money on that. And that it was in fact Angostura that hosted that event. But of course, always want to double down on her dishonesty. She tried to defend her nonsense by saying, well, Angostura is a majority state-owned by virtue of Clico fiasco and government holding whatever was Clico's shareholding in Angostura. So therefore, Angostura's profits belong to the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. That money that Angostura would have spent to host this lavish event could have gone to paying profits to the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. And again, she had to be shown to be a complete, let me keep it friendly, because I know some people listening get upset when I describe their political leader in a certain way, right? And in doubling down on that pack of nonsense, again, she had to you had to show her up for being totally ignorant of the facts. The fact is that the Angostura shareholding, government shareholding of Angostura, was placed into the NIF, National Investment Fund, which she, the leader of the opposition, when NIF was announced, told the population, do not invest in NIF because it is a Ponzi scheme. So don't put your money there. If you put your money there, you're looking for trouble. This was in 2018. Since then, NIF has paid over $1 billion in dividends. So those persons who decided to ignore her advice and decided to put their money in NIF have been smiling and laughing all the way to the bank for the past 5 years. And some, when every 6 months they get dividend checks corresponding to the amount of money that they would have invested in the NIF. But the government put their shareholding, Angostura shareholding, into the NIF. And when it is the citizens who decided to ignore the advice of the leader of the opposition invested in NIF, that money came to the government. So it means that any profits that Angostura pays for the period that NIF would be in existence, those profits goes to the shareholders of NIF, right? Because the government got a lump sum of money when it is that the persons who invested in NIF put in their money. So the government would have traded its rights to the dividends of NIF for I think is about of Angostura for about 20 years because they were different tranches. So the only citizens of Trinidad and Tobago who are entitled to dividends from the Angostura shareholding would be those who took sage advice from the Prime Minister and others and invested in the NIF. The rest of us, well, not us, the rest of the citizenry of Trinidad and Tobago, they would have gotten their share of those dividends in a lump sum based on the funds that were received from the purchase of the NIF shares. But she didn't know that. So whoever was advising her and who thought it was best to put out this press release on her advice or on the advice of whoever, clearly don't understand how the thing does work. But Wade Mark come back with the same nonsense to tell silence this, yeah. Wade Mark comes with the same nonsense to tell you, well, Massi, you are entitled to Massi dividends because you're a shareholder in Massi by virtue of the fact that you have a number of state entities holding shares in Massi. $1 million US, 500,000 to $1 million US. And they want to come and talk about the scarce foreign exchange and when you go in the bank, you can't get 200 US to travel and all of this kind of thing. But Massi, smart folks, just tune this up. Right, yeah. And that is the argument that they're going to come with to fight down Massi. Let me just read something for you quickly in case these people forget. That Massi is a conglomerate, an international conglomerate, right? Massi imports and they export. And when they export, to the best of my knowledge, they don't get paid in TT dollars, they don't get paid in pesos or bolivares. They get paid in US dollars. So Massi is a earner of foreign exchange, an earner of US dollars. So Massi, while they may get some US from the bank and so on, I am pretty sure that the majority of the US that they earn doesn't come from the banking system in Trinidad and Tobago. Because if we have associated brands, who some years ago, I think it was about 4 or 5 years ago, the chairman, Arthur Lockjack, made the point that associated brands does not rely on the local banking system for their foreign exchange because they earn foreign exchange through the export of their products. Associated brands is nowhere close to the size of Massi. And if you have a company like Associated Brands is telling you, well, we don't need to depend on the government's money, on the money from the banks, the local banks and so on, to do our business. And a much larger company like Massi that has business interests, not just in Trinidad and Tobago, but regionally, Massi has significant business interest in places like Barbados and they're in Guyana, and I think they're in Jamaica as well, throughout the Caribbean region. And in all of these jurisdictions in which they operate, I'm pretty sure it's not TT dollars that they earn it. But let me remind people like Wade Mark and the others from that party, remind them. Let me read this for them in case I forgot. This is an article dated Wednesday, 14th December, 2022, just a little over a year ago. Newsday, Massi buys Florida supermarket chain for US $47 million. Massi Holdings has bought a US-based supermarket chain for US $47 million, the conglomerate announced on Wednesday. Massi completed its acquisition of Rose IGA supermarket through its American subsidiary. You hear this, sir? Its American subsidiary, Massi Stores USA LLC, on Monday after the board gave its approval on December 7th. Massi Stores entered into a membership interest purchase agreement with the sole owner of Rose IGA, Robert Rowe, to purchase 100% of equity of each of the 7 limited liability companies within Rose IGA Group. And Rose IGA is an independent supermarket chain with 7 stores in Jacksonville, Florida, and it was established in 2005 and is a well-recognized brand within the Jacksonville area. The acquisition will represent a 1% increase in the Massi Group's assets and is expected to contribute to an increase in the group's profit before tax of approximately 4% for the integrated retail portfolio. This is the Massi Group's second bid for a company in recent weeks. Its subsidiary Massi Gas Products Holdings Limited entered into an agreement with the French company Air Liquide International on November 28 to purchase 100% of its shares in Air Liquide TT for $51.5 million US dollars. For US 51.5 to US $58.5 million dollars. How come they didn't come and complain about that? Massi announced massive profits, I think, for the first 9 months, right? I didn't see anybody, Wade Mark and them, call any press conference to praise Massi for that and to give them a round of applause and to talk about how the country and how you, the taxpayers, are benefiting because of your shareholdings in Massi and this big amount of profits that Massi has announced, and to tell you, yes, the economy is doing well because Massi had all of these profits, and how much shareholding we have in Massi by virtue of our shareholding in Republic and Unit Trust and NID. He didn't call a press conference to talk about that. To praise Massi for a job well done, when it is that Massi would have acquired IGA through its American subsidiary. So it earns US dollars in the US through that alone. So I think it's safe to say that Massi has US accounts, US bank accounts in the United States of America, where they would put the earnings, the money that they earn in the US. And I'm pretty sure IGA, the supermarket chain which Massi owns 100% of, is earning US dollars. So I'm pretty sure it earned more than $1 million US dollars in the US for Massi. So if it is Massi needs to pay for these things or whatever it is they're paying for, I am pretty sure they didn't need to go to Republic Bank or any of the other banks and say we need to get 500,000 or $1 million US dollars to pay for this training. They could just simply transfer it from one of their many, I'm sure, US bank accounts, which holds money that they earn in the United States and probably through their operations regionally and otherwise. But for this fool to come and hold a press conference to talk for about 20 minutes about Massi and how this government giving away our precious foreign exchange to Massi so that they could pay for all of this set of foolishness. Somebody talk to these people and let them know not everybody is of the waterfront ilk, please. Not everybody is of the waterfront ilk, right? So when they support us all over the place talking about how much money they give Massi, when it is Jawala Rambaran as central bank governor would have announced how much money was spent, how much foreign exchange they given to Massi. When did Massi start his training? Last week? Last year? Since Gervais Warner, I think, became the CEO of Massi, because from what I read, he was the one who would have introduced the company to this particular entity that does this training. Gervais Warner didn't become the CEO of Massi last week or last year. If memory serves me correctly, I think he would have been there since the People's Partnership was in office, when Jawala Rambaran was governor of Central Bank. They had no concern then about what Massi was spending the US on that they were giving to them, that the central bank was releasing so that Massi could get. He had no concerns there. But you have concern now, 500,000 to $1 million US dollars, which is a drop in the bucket for Massi. They're probably earning more US than that on a daily basis, based on their total operations. But all they come and talk about these countries' cases and $1 million US. What about the rest of them, the supporters and financiers of that party who use who hoard in US and are contributing to the shortage? Why you don't call a press conference and talk about it? And call them out and tell them stop the nonsense, stop the hoarding. Because there was an article published just about a week or so ago that's saying that businesses are depending on the black market to get foreign exchange, to bring in their goods and services, their goods. And I kept asking the question, where the black market gets in the US from? They printing it. I am not aware we print USA. They importing it. I'm not aware that you could do that. So where the black market getting the US from? That is what Wade Mark should call a press conference to talk about and ask those questions. Address that issue. Where the black market getting it from? Instead of to talk back and say about Massi using the country's case for museums to pay for this scandalous training and so on. You see, when they have nothing else to talk about, that is desperation talking there. But you see, the waterfront ilk will run with that. The intellectually lazy among their ranks who will hear that and say, oh, Jesse, yeah. But the rest of us who will take the time to go and do research and who recall, you see, because we read the newspapers, we are not members of the Headline Readers Association. When they're going through Facebook and other social media platforms and they see a headline come up and they wouldn't click the link to read the story in its entirety, the first thing they do is run to the comments to make some foolish asinine comment and show themselves to be idiots. So, not surprised to get that from Wade Mark. You come with a nonsensical argument. And then on top of that, lying blatantly, what Republic Bank owned 50% of Massi. You know, Republic Bank should drop a lawsuit in your backside. You pay for your mouth. And the lies that you are like to tell. Bunch of inveterate liars. And these are the people telling you put us back in office in 2025. They're lying for the simplest of things. The simplest of things they would lie about, just to advance their cause. So if you can't trust them in the small things, the things that could be easily proven to be untrue, you really want to trust them with 5 years, 3 months, and 14 days of office again? Can they be trusted with that? We will lie to you about the simple things. You don't feel like a lie about the big things too? Yeah, but that's the alternative. That is the government in waiting. That's the government in waiting. No liquor come to talk about his necromancy and so on. But the dog liar do about 3 lives to talk about Massi and all of that and make all kind of allegations. To do a lie to talk about the economy, hold up a newspaper article saying something about what about gloom and doom and whatever with respect to the economy. You also can drive around over the last couple of weeks. We complaining about increasing electricity rates. Go down to Gulf View, some big house that are down there with lights, people going every day, take pictures and videos and so on in front of this house. They concerned about any increase in electricity rates? Subsidize electricity, right? Subsidize electricity. So right now the government paying a subsidy for electricity so that these people could show off their wealth and decorate their house with all of these satellites and so on. The government must subsidize that. But we have a problem if it is they increase the electricity rates. We ain't complaining about it. I'm telling you, the economy in a mess. Economy in a mess. Yesterday I'm going down to the barber shop. I look across, and this is about 10:30 in the morning or thereabouts, right? And I look across at this, the new Extra Foods, just off the highway there in Arangwes. Car park ram out, and the line of cars on the highway waiting to turn in to go into that establishment there. Long line on the highway. But we're suffering. The economy in shambles. We have no money. Can't afford to celebrate Christmas this year. Yeah? Long line. And that is just one of several. Last night, I was coming from Freeport because one of my friends had a line and I was coming back there probably about after 10. And as I'm passing by Price Plaza, there that whole stretch, Price Plaza, Pennywise Plaza, Extra Foods Plaza. After 10 in the night, ram out, a long line on Nassau Ramaya Road of vehicles waiting to go inside. After 10 in the night, on the 23rd of December, not the 24th, the 23rd. But we have money and we're suffering. Try to go to West Mall on Friday. Same thing. Can't get a park in West Mall. This is about 3:30, 4 o'clock Friday afternoon. Can't get a park in West Mall. All the parking spots taken up. So people going in the mall to do what? To window shop. Yeah? That's what they're going to do. Window shop. See that dress looking nice, eh? Yeah, that suit looking nice. You see that pair of shoes looking good, eh? Everybody who is in the mall, that's what they're going to do. Went to Extra Foods on O'Mara Road. That's last week too. And I was just amazed at all these sufferers. I just went in there to go to the pharmacy to get cough syrup. And as I'm walking and I'm looking at all the lanes, all the cashiers, right? All the lanes leading up to the cashier, Everybody, long lines. So the line starting almost to the end of the lane. Come up. And you're seeing people with one family with 2 and 3 baskets, the big, big trolleys, full. I said, well, look at these sufferers now, boy. Wow. Hmm. I walked the whole length and I just looking around. I wanted to take out my phone and record it and we post it on the page. I said, let me behave myself. Look at all these suffering people. Hmm. If that is what sufferers look like, you suffering and you could afford to have 2 and 3 trolleys in preparation for what? For one day. So they're suffering. Yeah, the economy on the brink of collapse, doom and gloom. The economy has never been in worse shape. But all over, you're seeing all these businesses opening new branches. All over, but we're suffering. Things bad. Things hard. Just a couple months ago, the banks were reporting excess liquidity to the tune of about just over $8 billion, which is just idle cash that they have sitting down there, waiting for people to come and borrow. In the space of 2 months, that figure went from 8 billion down to 4.65. So it means that the banks would have lent out almost $4 billion in loans in the space of about 2 months. All these banks that have the Christmas sale on, no need to provide proof of purpose for the loan. Come and take loan and you don't have to pay. You don't have to pay low interest rates and you don't have to pay until March next year. Come and take a loan and you could win a brand new SUV. Oh yes. So with all of this marketing from September come down to now, excess liquidity fell by almost $4 billion. That is money that left the banking system, that was lent out. But the economy in shambles and the economy in a mess and we're suffering. Yeah. Well, if that is an economy in the doldrums, well, boy, I can't wait to see what a thriving economy looks like. In the interest of time, let me play this. Let me go to thing 2. The Dragon Gas deal, which seems to be the UNC, they just can't catch this. They don't know what to do again. Because here it is that in the space of less than a year, this government, this administration has been able to accomplish in less than a year what the UNC thought would take 5 years to do. And that is the biggest thing that they can't handle and can't deal with. They thought that the negotiations for this Dragon Gas deal would have taken at least 3 to 5 years. So that when it was announced in January of this year that the US had granted this special license to Trinidad and Tobago and Venezuela to be able to negotiate the Dragon Gas deal. Remember, a lot of them said, yeah, 2 years. What they could do in 2 years. So in the early days, they weren't really talking about the Dragon Gas deal as they're talking about it now, right? You already recall in the first 6-7 months, they weren't really hearing. And maybe when the announcement was first made, probably in the first week or 2, they talk about it a little bit. And then they drop it because they tell us nothing ain't going to come out of that. 2 years, what do you know? They need 2 years alone just to talk to Maduro. All of these negotiations have been completed in less than a year. I think it was the 23rd of January or something, so that announcement made. We are in December. So we still it took about 11 months for the government to negotiate with the government of the United States of America, for them to negotiate with Maduro and his government, and for them to sign a 30-year deal. 30-year license was granted in less than a year. Testimony to the work of Stuart Young, Dr. Rowley, the technocrats at the Ministry of Energy and Energy in Resources and so on, the hard work that they put in, committed to bring this issue finally to a conclusion. This matter, which has been ongoing since the days of Patrick Manning, this issue of this Dragon Gas, which has spanned not 1, not 2, but 3 administrations. The People's Partnership of 2010 to 2015 accomplished precious little to nothing in respect of this matter, other than for them to go and knock glass with Maduro and say, oh, you're going. You're all right. All is well. And give him a pat on the shoulder. Can Kevin Ramnarine, who have plenty to say about this, tell us what he did as Minister of Energy to advance this? In the first couple of years, first 3 years or so of this administration coming into office, they did quite a bit of work, right? Quite a bit of work with respect to this Dragon Gas deal. Almost immediately upon assumption of office, Dr. Rowley set about treating with this matter because he realized, look, we have a problem that started since 2012 with respect to, or 2011, with respect to gas curtailment. So he knew, since he was leader of the opposition, that if he became prime minister, this is something that he needed to treat with, right? And we needed to look beyond local shores. We needed to look beyond the potential of our own gas fields to be able to produce the type of gas that we need. So he set about, just as he did as opposition leader, when he approached the folks at Sandals to open a Sandals in Tobago, without that, he set about this, and the effort that was put into it, nothing close to what the People's Party. The People's Party knew nothing close to that. But they are the loudest critics today. So as I was saying, in the first few months of this year, they didn't have much to say. They weren't really talking about that because they didn't think it was going to go anywhere, and they certainly didn't expect the negotiations to be concluded in the time frame in which it did. So when it is, I played for you all a live that Andy Roberts did some months ago, a couple months ago, where he was talking about the dragon can't dance and how are they going, how are they paying Maduro in pesos, in bolivares, and all of that nonsense. And there's only 2 years they give Ole to negotiate that license, and Ole only have a few months left. And what you're going to do? He spent about 7 minutes wasting down the dragon gas deal, and to tell you why it wouldn't work and why it can't come to fruition and so on. Yeah, all of the concerns that he expressed in that live have been done away with, have been addressed, and solutions have been found. So now they're stewing in their own fat. They don't know what to do because the pace at which Stuart Young moving, they don't telling us that, well, you see, we were anticipating that it might take about 7 to 10 years for gas to start a flow from that field. But if Stuart Young have anything to say about it and the way that he running and he moving, if he was able to accomplish this in 11 months, then you see that timeline that we're looking at for first gas. If anybody could shorten that timeline probably by half or more, it's Stuart Young. And kudos to Minister Young for the hard work that he has been doing. He has been dedicated to this thing. As Dr. Rowley said, doing shuttle work from Trinidad to Washington to Caracas to Trinidad and all of this. Right? I'm certain at expense to his, well, not monetary expense, but in terms of family time, having to do all of this traveling and so on, amidst his other duties as a minister in the office of the Prime Minister. Yeah? Remember, he is Dr. Rowley's sobers. So he has a lot of other work and other things that he does in addition to his portfolio as Minister of Energy. As I told him yesterday, Dr. Rowley made a very good choice, the right choice in choosing him as Franklin Khan's successor. And he continues to demonstrate on a daily basis why Dr. Rowley, why that was a very good choice. So the Prime Minister would have on Friday, I think it was Friday, after he officially commissioned the Debunking interchange. Don't know how many of you will have used the interchange as yet, but you know, for persons who coming from Debunking, even the bridge, or if you want to call it the little piece of tunnel, to see that lit up on Friday night, I felt very proud. In fact, for a moment, it reminded me of downtown, the tunnel in Fort Lauderdale, right? This government has had several parts of this country looking like places that you would see when you go to North America, New York and Florida and Texas and stuff like that. So if you haven't seen it yet, take a drive and see the work that was done on that interchange. And what was interesting, I just digressing a little bit. I mean, I want to talk about that too, right? But what was interesting to note to me is that Rohan Sinanan, in his speech on Friday, when he spoke about the interchange, made the point that the People's Partnership's budget for the Curup interchange was about $550 million, right? And when this administration came in 2015, thank goodness, the People's Partnership had not yet awarded the contract for that Curup interchange and no work had started. Because this government was able to renegotiate and retender that whole project. And for the budget that was set aside, or the cost that the People's Partnership told us that one Curup interchange would have incurred, we have been able to get 2 interchanges so far, and we still have change that will go towards the 3rd interchange, which I believe is supposed to be the Mokoya interchange, which is next up on the list. So we got the Curup interchange for about 221 million. We got this interchange down at Debunking for 185 million. We ain't reached 550 that they told you Curup alone would cost. So we have enough change to do interchange number 3, Makoya. So for what they were going to spend on one QREP interchange, we are going to get 3 interchanges for that money. But the supporters want to tell you that this is not the administration to run this country. No. Their party, their leader, that is the best choice. 3 interchanges we're going to get for what they were going to spend on one. But we're not going to applaud that. That is not something to commend the government for. Right? Look at the kind of savings. And when you look at that Diego Martin interchange, I mean, chalk and cheese. It is, as I said, it is really something you would expect to see in a, what we call a developed, I'm not going to say first world, a developed country. In fact, that looks better than some of the things that you see in some of these developed countries. I would prefer to say that, right? So if you haven't tested it, or even if you're not living in Diego Martin, still go and test it out and see it. And so instead, if you're coming from Diego Martin now and you want to go to West Mall or you want to go down to Carenage, instead of having to endure the lights if you come up on the Diego Martin Highway or Petit Valley on that side, instead of having to endure the lights by the 4 roads there, and then to endure the second light by the gas station, to go around the back St. Finbar's, St. Anthony's there, and going to West Mall to go inside it. Now, you just come up and you make the turn by Victoria Keys, and go over the ramp, and you reach by the roundabout. Far less time, without the inconvenience of the traffic lights. And you're there. You make the roundabout and you head if you're going to Carenage, you're going down Chagarama's that side. If you're going to the mall, you're going to that way. But you have Philip Alexander, who just a couple months ago decided to do a live, to come and lie. Again, all of these persons who telling you they want to be the next prime minister have no problem in lying blatantly, telling you that his information is that interchange cost $2 billion. $2 billion. I mean, come on. Even if you tell me 500 million, you could have probably fooled me with that. But $2 billion, man, seriously? And you expect people to believe that and to put their confidence in you as a political leader and to make you the prime minister when you have no problems in doing a live video and lying to tell people it costs $2 billion. And anybody who believed that and who believed him when he said that, well, I have a deed to Buckingham Palace and I'm selling it for 100,000. So check me, Buckingham Palace for sale. Because you all had to be the most gullible fools that have around to listen to this man telling you that interchange costs $2 billion. When in fact it cost 185 million, and that was in the newspapers months before. But the Prime Minister mentioned that issue, he made mention of that on Friday during his speech. And the only thing that I was disappointed in is the fact that it took so long for a member of government to address that claim by Philip Alexander. Because he was the only person I heard mention Alexander. Because he was the only person I heard mention that $2 billion figure, which means the Prime Minister would have heard it from him or somebody who would have heard it from Philip Alexander. And I know the Prime Minister, since in the lead up to 2020 January, when they would have opened the refurbished, the renovated Red House, Philip Alexander at that time was making similar claims with respect to the Red House renovation project, where he was saying that the government spent 400 and something million, and all they did was to change a few tiles on the roof. They changed a few windows, put in a few air conditioning units, and slap a coat of paint on the outside of the building, and that they tell you cost 441 million. Nothing could be further from the truth. And for those who took the time to do the research and see the extensive work that was done to renovate the Red House to what it is today, because I don't think the entire Red House was air conditioned before. We had only one chamber, which was I think on the northern end or something so of the Parliament, which was the main chamber that was being used by both lower and upper house. So the Senate and the House of Representatives were both using this one chamber. Now they both have their own chambers. So I think the House of Representatives would have retained the original chamber, which is on the northern end, and then on the southern end is where the Senate chamber is. When you look at the public gallery, before, in those chambers, it was just a few chairs that they had behind some of the parliamentarians, I think the opposition bench. So you come in there and they just have an area corridor. Now you have this big whole fancy kind of bowl-shaped thing for members of the media and members of the public. The kind of work that was done there. And it aggrieved the Prime Minister so much. I recall that in January of 2020, the Prime Minister called a meeting at Whitehall in which He summoned the board of the National Trust, the architects who were involved on that job, and representatives, officials from UDCOT. And when we went to this meeting, the Prime Minister expressed how upset he was by the things that Philip Alexander was saying, because he knew it to be untrue. He knew how committed he was to this project, among others, the refurbishment of the Magnificent Seven and so on. I recall in that meeting when the Prime Minister started to talk, the only thing he didn't do was cry. But he was very upset, very, very upset about the things Philip Alexander was saying. And so he asked us to put up each of the groups, the National Trust, the architects, the architectural firm, and also UDCOT. He asked us to put out separate statements endorsing the work that was done on the Red House to debunk the nonsense that Philip Alexander was saying. So the fact that he mentioned that this lie that they spent $2 billion for that, when it cost less than 10, he said 2 billion. It cost, which is an inflation, because he inflated by more than 10 times, right? But ask him to provide us with proof. It finished. He had plenty things to say about how much accidents going on happen there and all kind of thing, and the government built that specifically to benefit Azar and Westmore and all of that. Tell that to the people who are enjoying that interchange today. Tell that to those folks who would see a ease in the traffic coming out of Diego Martin. Tell that to them. I think he himself lives in Diego Martin and would also benefit from that. He come out of politics now, because for his same mouth, his same lion mouth, is why he's out of politics today and has so many court judgments against him to the tune of millions of dollars that he had to pay people like Andrew Gabriel, Michaela Pandey, and others. And these are the people who tell him they want to leave. They are the best alternative to the PNM. And so when I was coming out of Diego Martin, because I went to visit one of my friends who lives at Victoria Keys, and she lives in Tower 1. And I mean, the vantage point, everything, she was able to get a bird's eye view from her balcony of the proceedings on Friday. As I was driving out, and looking at this development. In fact, it took me about 3 tries to be able to get into Victoria Keys to understand the new arrangement. But I didn't mind, because I enjoyed the drive and actually seeing the full gamut of this interchange. Right now, coming back to the Dragon Gas just now. But since on this point, and as I was driving out and I'm looking right to see vehicles to make sure the road is clear so I could proceed. And I looked at the tunnel and it's lit up in red and so on and whatnot. And I said, look how that looking. And then I recalled, it came to mind when Rudal Munilal, on at least 2 occasions in the very recent past, was saying that it is the UNC that built Trinidad and Tobago. He said, sure you all have heard, right? When he was feature speaker at, I think, the Mayaro constituency had their Christmas thing, and then I think at the UNC's, the party's Christmas dinner or whatever it is, I think he made that statement again, that it is the UNC that built Trinidad and Tobago. And I'm looking at this development and I say, look at this beautiful thing. PNM did that. And I said, let me look at all of the development that has taken place in Diego Martin over the last 8 years that the UNC had nothing to do with. The Diego Martin Sporting Complex, the administrative building, just across from Victoria Keys there, where there is a new branch of FCB, and the administrative building for the Diego Martin Borough Corporation. You have on Wendy Fitzwilliam Boulevard, you have the Understanding Library is being constructed there and it's soon to be open. You have the Diego Martin Health Center, which I like a hospital than a health center. And a couple of residents, in fact, when I was talking to my friend's daughter, and she was saying she's amazed at some of the things that has happened, development that has taken place in Diego Martin over the course of the last 8 years, that the UNC had nothing to do with, contrary to what Rudal Munilal said. And so I'm driving up the road, heading up to the Porsche. So I'm going to cut across on Arapita Avenue. I know many of you have been on Arapita Avenue recently to see the work that is being done, where the pavement, they pave it with this, it kind of looks like some, kind of like a Spanish design. The pave is kind of orange, things that you would see at a villa, a Spanish villa. And they're putting now these lighting towers, these solar lighting towers that light a kind of pinkish, purplish color. But Arapita Avenue looks like downtown Fort Lauderdale. For those of you who are familiar with downtown Fort Lauderdale, Really, really nice. It's inviting. Even if you're not a Lima, Arapita Avenue it encourages you, especially in night time, to come and do something, which this administration is responsible for. But of course, that other party will tell you how much money spent for that and so on. Right? And then you come up, you're driving up, come up on Ryson Road, and you look at where Power Gen was, in that big open lot there now, and you could only imagine what the government is probably going to put there, based on what we've seen them do so far. Yes, your imagination is just open, but I'm sure wherever it goes there is going to be something worthwhile. And then you come up the road a little bit more, and you reach up by the waterfront, Hyatt and the towers and so on. It's a P&M building. And then you go a little further, and you see the water taxis there. That was an initiative of the People's National Movement, not the UNC. And you drive up a little bit more, and you approach the port, and you see the ferries, the APT James, the Buko Reef, the Galleon's Passage, and you see, is it the TNT Spirit? Yes, I think it's the Spirit. UNC didn't buy any of those. All of those were initiatives of Patrick Manning. For the first time in this country's history, we have 4 fully functional ferries working between the sea bridge. No complaints. You remember all the complaints they used to make before when the Galleon's Passage had now come and there were issues with respect to the canopy and all of these things. Little teething problems. Every time something happened, they had to show you a picture and a video. When last you see that? Come here, I'm looking at that and I'm saying, but P&M did that too. When I looked at the walkover at Ryson Road there by the Hyatt, which this guy, the Ghanaian who was just here, Wodemaya, one of the things that he was so amazed about this is one of the first videos that he did, and he was highlighting the fact, look at this beautiful walkover there, and it has elevators, so if it is you can't make it up the step, you could take the elevator and all of that. Who did that? That wasn't the UNC. People's National Movement did that. And then you drive up a little further and you come to almost the sea lots there, and you look at the refurbished lighthouse. And then you look across at PTSC, City Gate, and you see all of the new buses there. Who did that? UNC did that? That's UNC. Yeah, they did that, right? And you drive up a little further, and then you see the other walkover at Sealots. The same walkover that the People's Partnership told us couldn't be built. Remember when it had that horrible accident there? While they were in office, where the off-duty police officer driving the Corolla ran into some people and 3 or 4 persons died. And when it is Mr. Warner at the time was the Minister of Works and Transport, and they went and they carried the technocrats and everybody, and they said, we can't build no walkover there. The best thing we could do is put a crossing guard. So we put a zebra crossing and a crossing guard with the lollipop stick that says stop and go, and that's the best we could do for the people at Sealots. And then when this administration came in, they set about building the very same walkover that the People's Partnership told us couldn't be built because you had to move this light pole and you had to do all kind of things that gave us 1,000,010 reasons why it couldn't be done. The P&M came in and they did it. Never mind the fact that a lot of the residents probably don't use it, but they did it. And you keep driving and you're heading east and you see the developments, and I reach the Arangwes interchange, the Arangwes overpass. I said to myself, who did that? Again, brainchild of the Patrick Manning administration. And we see all of the development that is now taking place on that side of the highway, in and around the area of this interchange. For those of us who travel on the east-west corridor, recall the horrible nightmare that was the traffic coming from the east in the days when they had a traffic light there by that same area that was removed. And they continue to head east, and you see the Grand Bazaar interchange, and again you ask yourself, who did that? That was UNC? No. Again, the brainchild of Patrick Manning and the P&M. And you continue to head east and see all of the development just on that stretch alone, and more that is to come. The Curep interchange, when you see that, who did that? UNC did that? According to Munilal, they built Trinidad and Tobago. Yeah, they built it. Really? What you're all going to spend on that one interchange, we get 2 so far and a 3rd one coming. Or you might still have a little bit of change left over from that one too, from what you all were prepared to spend. But the supporters are going to talk about it. And then we continue to head east and see all of the other developments that are taking place. Swimming pool that was just opened in Malabar last week, or week before, the community pool that was open. What did they do for Malabar when they were in office other than turn W Mirror into a veritable hellhole? 70-something murders in W Mirror, right? Over box train contracts while Anil Roberts was the member of parliament. That was their legacy for W Mirror and for Malabar. We had a perfectly good housing development in Napoyo Court that was almost complete when Patrick Manning demitted office in May of 2010. All they had to do was to finish the fixtures and so on, and put these houses, give it to the HTC to distribute. For 5 years, 3 months, and 14 days, they abandoned Napoyo Court and allowed the vandals to come and take everything. Take down the galvanized fence and all of that, the fixtures that were in the toilet bowl and the sinks and all of these that were in this unit, completely vandalized it. Did absolutely nothing but want to come and boast and tell you they built 6,000 houses, and then the next week come and tell you they built 8,000 houses while they were in office. Ask them, we can't find where these 8,000 houses were built. How many of those 8,000 houses were accounted for under the $785 million in housing that we can't find? That not up to this day, not one of them has spoken about, have not addressed it. They have not called Camille Robinson Regis a liar. They have not said that what she said was untrue. None of them have said anything on that matter. Not Jolene John, not Kamala Prasad-Bissessar, not Rudal Munilal. Not one of them have addressed that. The Douglaya, not even he ain't touching that with a 1,000-foot pole. Leave it so. 9-day wonder. And the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago will forget about it. But put them back in office. Right? Put them back in office. Swimming pool in Maloney. They build that tent. Swimming pools, 2 swimming pools in Movan and Lavantil. With more pools to come, as the Prime Minister mentioned, and refurbishment of swimming pools in Sapari and other areas, so that the community can have something that they could utilize. Swimming pool in La Joqueta. The library that is under construction in La Joqueta. You drive up the road, the Arima Hospital, which they want to claim. Right? Turns out 3 months before the election, but saying they build that. The Arima Hospital built under budget, under what they were going to spend. Point 14 Hospital. Grandy Hospital almost finished. Central Block in Port of Spain. Roxborough Hospital. All of these under this administration, but Munilal want to tell you, they built Trinidad. They built Trinidad and Tobago. Delusional much. And the supporters talking this foolishness, but nothing happened in the last 8 years, and this government didn't do nothing, and they challenging PNM supporters to tell them 2 things or 5 things that the government did in the last 8 years. I don't know. Clearly their heads had to be buried in some kind of quicksand to be asking that foolishness, and coming time again at this late stage to still be asking that nonsense of what this government do in the last 8 years. Well, it's serious. How many ferries did Kamala buy with the highest energy revenues in the country's history? How many did she buy? Go down on the port and point to one and tell me which one she was responsible for now, or that the People's Partnership buy. Not one. West Indies played England last week, a couple of days ago, the final match in the Brian Lara Stadium. And when you see the cameras panning, if you see them, they're too happy. All of them there, who had nothing good to say about the Brian Lara Stadium, and how there's a rust bucket, and the PNM spent how much millions of dollars and billions of dollars on that, and was a waste of money. But every time it have a cricket match there, they first inside to get the best seats. Yeah, they weren't singing that song. What day it was when that match was going on to come and tell you about how much money. You feel they were studying how much money spent to build it? No, they had no issue with that. Then, first there. But want to come and tell you a pack of nonsense about him both wife and the game, both wife contractor to clean the roof and the thing. Well, then, they shouldn't go. You shouldn't go. First matches that they had, they all went to sabotage and stick things in the toilet bowl and the sink and all of that. Because you can't accept the fact that this administration, in the space of about a year or 2, was able to do what the party that you support couldn't do in 5 years, 3 months, and 14 days, with the highest energy revenues in the country's history. Because they weren't interested. Leave it as a monument to PNM wastage. And that is how they should govern the country, right? That's how they should govern a country. They opened the Ramai Trace Primary School a couple of weeks ago. That for the last 8 years, Munilal singing a song about that. They want to open the Ramai Trace Hindu School. Why? Because the Mahasabha, when he was in office, said that they were going to name the school the Rudal Munilal Ramai Trace Hindu School. So he was anxious to get a school open named after him. But when the plaque went up, it clearly said the Ramai Trace Hindu School. No mention of Rudal Munilal. So he decided to give himself a plaque. Right? Give himself a plaque. Dr. Rudal Munilal Ramai Trace Hindu. Well, she has done her searches in the ministry, and we see nothing there that says there was ever any intention on the part of the ministry to name that school after him. So if he wants to give himself a plaque and claim that the school is named after him, he could go ahead. But the official name on the building is the Ramai Trace Hindu School. Nothing to do with Dr. Rudal Munilal. So I wouldn't be surprised if, God forbid, they come back into office in 2025. One of the first things they do is to rename the school the Dr. Rudal Munilal Ramai Trace Hindu School. Yeah, but you're talking about that. So turn over that. But they finish. So that's one less thing for them to gripe about. And as we continue and we head to 2025, this government is going to continue to do things to reduce the list of things that they could gripe about. So we're coming back now to the dragon dance. If you know how that hurting them and they cry. But let me play this, right? Just turn this off here. Put on this. So let me get this here. I'll run through this quicker because I forgot to have my taham in the oven and I don't want to overdo. Put on this thing here. Say morning, good afternoon to my good friend Storm Clement Superville. So my son notice come up on my tablet. It says that today is your birthday, but I don't know if because the tablet was off before, if these notifications are now coming in. But I suspect if it's not today, you would have had a recent birthday. So if in fact that is the case, happy birthday to you, my friend. I read that post you put up this morning with respect to your the experience that you had on Friday with your bags being stolen. Most unfortunate incident, but I'm happy that you were able to get it back in record time. And God is good all the time. All the time, God is good. And so, right. So let me just get this thing here.
And the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Venezuela by water is 7 miles from Trinidad. 7 miles from Trinidad and Tobago. And to have entered into this agreement in 2023 to open this door to allow us with the infrastructure on the ground in Trinidad to access and process the raw material from below the ground in Venezuela puts the two nations in a position to play a bigger and more beneficial role in the world economy and for the benefit of the people of Venezuela and Trinidad and Tobago.
The Prime Minister said he expects more deals in the future.
This Jargon Agreement is the first of what I anticipate will be many between Trinidad and Tobago and Venezuela. And it has nothing to do about with today's politics and who's in office today. It has to do between who are the people of Venezuela and who are the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And as long as we remain neighborly, with respect for each other, acting in good order, this is sustainable for a long, long time.
He listed the benefits to be derived.
For the people of Trinidad and Tobago, it means that we are now in a position to access more gas, to keep us in the business longer. And for the people of Venezuela, it means that they have access to the international market and to benefit from the earnings of these operations. Whether it is government or opposition, this is for the benefit of the people of Venezuela and for the people of Trinidad and Tobago.
Energy Minister Stuart Young signed on behalf of the people of Trinidad and Tobago in Venezuela yesterday. And on hearing the news, the Opposition United National Congress says it needs more accountability. Speaking with News Center 5 this morning, Point of Peer MP David Lee said the people must be told of the benefits are to be derived from this deal.
Listen to David Lee. No kudos, no clap for the government, no well done on achieving something that has been outstanding for at least about 15 years or so. Listen to him.
The opposition has never and will never be against the progress on the drug and gas deal.
Yeah, just like they weren't against the progress of Sandals either, right? They weren't against the progress of Sandals. Where is Sandals today? Which part of Tobago? Help me now, somebody drop a pin so I can pull it up on Waze and visit Sandals in Tobago. Same one, same thing they said. We went against it. Right.
However, we have always demanded accountability, and we continue to do so on this license agreement. While we know some commercial terms must remain confidential, the people of Trinidad and Tobago deserve to know what opportunity costs they will endure to obtain this gas. The country know what payments must be made by NGC to PDVSA and the Maduro government. The country needs to know what, if any, advance lump sum was made or is required.
MP Lee also questioned if there is any way this deal will be protected from potential political fallout.
The country needs to know what infrastructural costs would be required to endure this project. However, most important to know is if this license will protect the energy security of this nation by ensuring that the future gas supply will not be simply determined by President Maduro's relationship with Trinidad and Tobago, but protected from any geopolitics. Most importantly, the government must now tell the country what is the timeline for first gas and the start of this Dragon Gas project.
Have you ever heard rubbish like that? You all ever heard such trash? This is David Lee. This is your potential future minister of energy under a UNC government led by Kamala Prasad Visesa. If you all play fast and loose with your vote in 2025, asking this certain nonsense. First thing he wants, what is the opportunity cost? Really, David Lee? Let me define for you all what opportunity cost is, right? Opportunity cost refers to what you have to give up to buy what you want in terms of other goods and services. For those of us who studied economics, you know this is one of the terms, one of the first terms that they introduce you to. Opportunity cost is the amount of potential gain an investor misses out on when they commit to one investment choice over another. And this clown asking what is the opportunity cost of us pursuing this dragon gas? Anybody can tell me, we got a license for 30 years to be able to extract gas from the dragon gas field that will come to Trinidad and Tobago. We will process it here and so on, market it, sell it in whatever way. And whatever monies is generated from the sale of that gas will be split between Trinidad and Tobago, the government of Venezuela, and of course, whichever is the operator, in this case, most likely is going to be Shell. If we do not get access to that gas, we get zero, zilch, nada, nothing. So they always talk about opportunity costs and what we give up, and they want to know how much outlay and how much money we have to pay capital cost up front. It's irrelevant. At the end of the day, this is a 30-year gas deal, 30-year license. It means that when this license expires, at that point in time, the majority of people like David Lee and Kamala Prasad and all of them would have been long gone from this plane of existence. There would be footnotes on the political landscape in Trinidad and Tobago. At 72 years old, 30 years from now, she would be 102 if she was still alive. Likelihood is she probably won't be, given her current state of health. But she would long be gone from the hallowed halls of the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago, as would David Lee and the others. Long gone. Plenty of us who listening now probably would be gone too, or would be well advanced in age. 30 years is what we're talking about. We are guaranteed a gas supply of at least 30 years. And the Prime Minister also mentioned this is just the first of several other gas deals that would be negotiated between Trinidad and Tobago and Venezuela, who have the gas which we need. They don't have the infrastructure on their side of the border to be able to monetize the gas. We do. And we are willing to work with them to do so for a share of the profits. Profits which we will not get if it is we allow the gas to remain where it is. And if Venezuela say, well, right, we don't have the infrastructure and it will take us years to develop that infrastructure. So in the meantime, let the gas stay there and nothing for Trinidad and Tobago. So even if it costs us 100 million or whatever to put out to establish whatever capital cost, the benefits long term far outweigh any capital cost that we have to put out up front. But this is the nonsensical argument that these clowns going to come with to try and pour scorn and pour cold water on this development. Even if we invest 200 million, I'm pretty sure over 30 years, we're going to get plenty more money than that from this arrangement because it's Venezuela's gas. Venezuela don't have to enter into any arrangement with us. They could decide, well, here, what the hell with Trinidad and Tobago? We going somewhere else. You know how many companies that have willing to come and build the infrastructure in Venezuela, invest their money and build it on that side of the border so that it just, instead of 3 people sharing the profits, it could be 2. Government of Venezuela and whoever is the operator spending their money to build the infrastructure. Venezuela doesn't need us. So we should be happy that this arrangement is now in place. But to listen to this clown, David Lee, come and tell you about, well, we want to know about the future of this gas deal with respect to, not just the politics and the Nicolas Maduro regime. We should be concerned about that. From the perspective that if your party, David Lee, gets into office, that is what we should be concerned about. The relationship between the government of Trinidad and Tobago and the government of Venezuela. If the government of Trinidad and Tobago is led by Kamla Persad-Bissessar, who put Maduro in a place the other day to tell him you touch one and you touch all, and we stand with Guyana and all of that, and if you come for Guyana, you come for we, and all of that. You think Mr. Maduro is going to forget that? You feel Mr. Maduro is going to say, let bygones be bygones, come Kamla, kumbaya, let us hug and kiss and make up? Really? When it is that your party continues to denigrate the man, when it is that you are still supporting Juan Guaido and want Mr. Maduro to be ousted, you really think that he want to have anything to do with all that? So if Trinidad and Tobago should be concerned about, as he says, the political relationship between the government of Venezuela and the government of Trinidad and Tobago, so as far as I am concerned, that issue only becomes an issue of concern if the government of Trinidad and Tobago is led by the woman who has a passion for putting her size, whatever, her 7 toes or how many ever toes she has in her mouth, right? That is what we should be concerned about. We have a 30-year license, 30 years. They have at least 25 years of gas in that dragon field. And as Dr. Rowley, you all heard him say just now, this is just one of many. And I'm sure that his government intends to pursue as many as they could before he demits office. And when whoever comes in to replace him, right, will continue to ensure that they build that relationship. So we could get 60 years of gas from Venezuela or 90 years of gas from Venezuela. Once the relationship working well, Venezuela has no need to go and spend the money to build their own infrastructure. So that they can say, well, now we ain't sharing a nurture now, we want all for ourselves. So no, we need to ensure that that relationship continues on the course that it is, and it will not happen. And what upsets me even more is the fact that while they continue to postpone on this dragon gas deal, the fact is, if Ole come into office, there is no dragon gas deal to be had. Because of the way that you all have tried to vilify the Maduro regime, so long as Nicolas Maduro is there is no dragon gas deal to be had because Ole can't go and talk to he. After Anil Roberts, every opportunity he get have plenty things to say about Delcy, and Delcy come here during COVID to talk about dragon gas, and Delcy lie, and Stuart Young lie, and Rowley lie. So you're calling the vice president of Venezuela a liar. And then you expect her to come and sit down with you all and break bread if you all come into office and let bygones be bygones? Really? That's how it is work? Knowing the individual that Nicolas Maduro is? You think he's not taking copious notes of all the things that the opposition in this country is saying about him and his administration? That they wrote to the National Assembly telling them, do not support any deal between Rowley and Maduro with respect to dragon gas. Very early on, they weren't in support of that. When it is that Dr. Rowley put things in place to accommodate the Venezuelans who were here, to help them to be able to live and work here legally, to register them, you feel Maduro forgets who it was opposing it? You think he forgets who was around the Savannah Bullet, the Oval, talking about Rowley must go and upset that the Venezuelans here and talking about we giving the Venezuelans money that belong to the citizens and the citizens suffering and we want to bring the Venezuelans here to take the jobs and all that. You feel he forget those things? Who was spearheading that campaign? Certainly not. So he don't want nothing to do with Kamla Persad-Bissessar and her administration. Absolutely nothing. Right? This is why they weren't able to accomplish anything between 2010 and even today. She's still patting herself on the shoulder and boasting about how in 2015, when Maduro was sizing up Guyana and so on, that she stood in Guyana's corner and she let Maduro know that she's supporting Guyana. It's not Maduro, no, you're not about him, and you have no interest. You would prefer to see him out of Miraflores. And he don't want any friendship with any two-tongued snake. So you could be kind of laughing, Nicholas, and he don't know what you about already. You all know that under you all it cannot happen. Relax all yourself. Support the thing. It is good, but they know once gas start to flow and the government's coffers start to improve, we're going to be seeing more things like the development we saw, more interchanges like we just opened in Diego Martin, more community swimming pools. All of these different things we're going to be seeing, right? More roads going to be paved because government will now have the money to be able to do it. They don't have to go and borrow to do these things. We're getting the income that we need to improve the lives of the citizenry. They could build more houses. They could jumpstart construction because now the government could build more buildings to house ministries as opposed to renting. And all of these things are going to spur the construction sector. They could give public servants probably 10% now instead of 4% because the money will be coming in. We have a supply of money coming from this one arrangement for the next 30 years at least. And who knows in the next 5 to 10 years how many other similar fields. So we have the Loran Manatee. In addition to Dragon Gas, you know how much money we could get from that? That is what they're concerned about. That, and that is why they're asking, so when first gas come in? But listen to Kevin Ramner. He is the next one. I don't know why they always, anyway. Let me get this here.
And former Energy Minister Kevin Ramnarine also speaks positively on hearing the news of the license. However, speaking with News Enterprise this morning, Mr. Ramnarine said government must give an expected time frame for this deal.
I think the government is now in a much better place to tell the public when that gas could be expected to arrive, or at least give an estimate of when that gas is expected to arrive in Trinidad and Tobago. It is also incumbent on them to explain the value that will accrue to Trinidad and Tobago and how that value is apportioned between Venezuela and Trinidad and Tobago. Because fundamentally, this is an import of natural gas. We're importing natural gas from Venezuela. It's Venezuela's natural gas in their territorial water, and the taxes and the royalties would be paid to the government of Venezuela. So the government of Trinidad and Tobago needs to see, how exactly value is going to be created in our country.
Mr. Ramnarine also said there is an existing problem with licenses regarding the contentious Essequibo region in Ghana.
That matter of Venezuela's claim to annex the Essequibo, to appoint a governor to govern the Essequibo, to issue ID cards and so on to persons living in the Essequibo already, to put on notice companies that are already operating in the Essequibo to leave in 3 months and so on. To me, those issues have not gone away. The only thing that was agreed to in sentencing is that there would not be the use of force by either side, and we know that really is something Venezuela, which has a much larger army than Guyana. So how does this deal with Venezuela affect our ability to support Guyana, our CARICOM partner, in what it is currently experiencing with Venezuela?
Mr. Ramnarine also said it is incumbent on the government to indicate the time frame of the infrastructure works to be done and whether it will happen before the next general elections.
And whether it will happen before the next general election. That's all they're concerned about now. Whether it will happen before the next general election. And why is that of a concern to them? As I said earlier on, timeline in which we were able to reach where we are, they weren't expecting that. They thought that the 2 years would come and go and we would have been close to nowhere in terms of negotiations. So the fact that negotiations have concluded in 11 months and we now have the US easing sanctions on Venezuela, notwithstanding this recent flare-up between Venezuela and Guyana. The US really didn't pay much mind to that. It was almost like, okay, forget about that now. Yeah, they're going to end that out. Let CARICOM deal with that. The US was not inclined to even intervene. CARICOM sorted that out. And again, up to now, more than a week later, still no congratulations, not one word of commendation from the opposition to CARICOM, not to Dr. Rowley, to CARICOM, on the way that matter was handled and that they were able to quell that what was potentially an inflammatory situation. Not one word. The leader of the opposition has not put out a press statement. They had how many press conferences between then and now. No mention of that. No mention of that. But they're about diplomacy. They were so concerned that Dr. Rowley needs to intervene and he needs to mediate and do so quickly to be able to sort this thing out. CARICOM intervened. CARICOM mediated, right? And it was, as Dr. Amy Brown told us, the outcome was better than they expected. Because when they saw the physical posture of Nicolas Maduro and Irfan Ali when they first met, they weren't thinking that they were going to get such an outcome, right? Maduro turned everybody on their heads. They weren't expecting him to do what he did, to agree to what he did. So all of that now was a gut punch to the UNC. So in 11 months, this government was able to do what they thought would take 5 years. So their concern is now, well, if they could do that in 11 months, and Stuart Chong doing what it is he's doing, it is quite possible that once they sort out their business with Shell, that we could see probably in the next maybe 6 months or so, or just a little bit more than that, efforts underway to start the construction of the infrastructure to make this thing happen. They are concerned what other gas deals would Stuart be negotiating over the course of the next year and a half as we head into election 2025. That is their concern. So if they only hear by March next year or in the first half of next year, Laurent Manatee is now on stream. So it's Dragon Gas by So and Laurent Manatee by So. And now we hear him talk about another one. Rowley go kill we. How they responding to that? How they responding? So they want to know the granular details. Well, how much money we going to get? And what is this arrangement? Because we importing gas. Kevin Ramnarayan playing smart with foolishness. He is well aware this is not a normal agreement. This is not a normal arrangement. So to come and talk nonsense about we importing gas from Venezuela into Trinidad and Tobago, it implies that what is to come is similar to what was happening in Petrotrin, where we were importing oil to refine and to sell as refined products, fuel and so on. That is not the case. Kevin Ramnarayan knows that fully well. So for him to give this implication that well, we importing gas so that we could satisfy the feedstock in Trinidad and therefore with the royalties and taxes going to the government of Venezuela. Again, I am certain all of these details would have been worked out, and this is not a normal arrangement. The Prime Minister and the Minister of Energy have said on numerous occasions there is going to be a profit-sharing arrangement between the two countries. That would have been worked out already. So the gas leaves the field, it comes to Trinidad, we process it, we sell it to whoever, we make money because, and that is the thing. This clown, Kevin Ramnarayan, talking this nonsense. But just a few months ago, we were told Venezuela was not supposed to get any cash. Before the US relaxed the sanctions and changed their mind on that, Venezuela was not supposed to get cash. And if we were, and still, negotiations were proceeding apace, despite the fact that Venezuela was not supposed to get cash. So up to that point in time, they would have been paid in some other way, which means we would have gotten the cash and they would have gotten something else, whether it is humanitarian aid or whatever the case may be. So he knows this is not a normal arrangement. So to come and try to simplify it for the benefit of the waterfront ilk, miss us with that BS now, Mr. Ramnarayan. Please, miss us with that. But you all just want to know what kind of money coming to Trinidad and Tobago, because you know, the more money we get, the development that is going to take place, similar to 2009, 2010, when Mr. Manning was building the waterfront, building house, building Napa, building Sapa, building government buildings, and so on. And you all were complaining, your leader was complaining that Mr. Manning is overheating the economy. And Mr. Manning is crowding out the private sector. And too many people employed. And the private sector, if it is you want to build a house, you can't find a mason or a carpenter or a laborer because everybody working for the government. And the government investing in too much things too fast. That was their complaint. And now that they see all the development that take place, Curep interchange, finish. Diego Martin interchange, finish. Swimming pools, finish. They building health centers, they building hospital, they buy ferry, they do all of these different things with far less income and far less revenue than they had between 2010 and 2050. So imagine what Keith Rowley and the square peg in the wrong hole, call members and the rest of the cabinet could do if they had the kind of money that they had between 2010 and 2050. That is what they are afraid of. That is what they're concerned, because this government will show them up. You all had this amount of money between 2010 to 2015 in that 5 years. This is what you did. We get that money now and look at, we had less, and look how much things we do. Whether it is all you want to say we ain't do nothing at all, that is all your business, because we know that is a blasted lie. But if with less money, we could do this, and we could point to the population and show them all the things that we do. When that starts, and with Dragon gas coming in and Lauren Manatee and other gas, maybe Petrotrin who? Refinery? We don't care about no refinery. It's gas. You remember when it is that the price of oil fell in 2014, 2015, what Ramnaran and they were telling us? Well, don't worry now, because now Trinidad and Tobago is really a gas-based economy. We get the majority of our energy revenues from the gas sector, not so much the oil sector. And now, under Keith Rowley and this Dragon gas deal and the other deals that the Prime Minister made mention of, it means we are going to be generating energy revenues, gas revenues, far better than anything. So we are now on the cusp of a gas boom. Like I said, the PNM had 2 oil boom and the money passed like a dose of salt. Well, we are on the verge of a gas boom. And that's what they can't take. That's what hurting them in the craw. Because they know 2025 is the only shot. If the PNM only get the next 5 years, that is the end of the UNC. They will never see the corridors of power in this country probably for the next 2 decades or more. And they can't afford that. Right? They can't afford that. So they ain't gonna talk about we 1 week left in the year, and we're still behind what the murder tally was same time last year. So it doesn't look like we won't cross the 600, right? And we know over the course of the next couple of days, all of the would be killers and stuff, the majority of them would be caught up in the festivities. So they don't really have time to kill nobody. Yeah, they study to drink and eat and like themselves. So they'll probably put on the gun for a day or two. So we have to use a cricket analogy, 2 dot balls, 2 or 3 dot days. When we mightn't hear about no killings. So all who praying every day, oh Lord, we hit across 600, we behind quota. Please, we need something to talk about with respect to crime. How it is things working out for the PNM now. The number of murders have decreased. Over last year, we were hoping for another record. They say, Lord, we're here. And now they get through with this license for 30 years. Come now, man, give me something now. Something, anything. But that's the government in waiting. That's the alternative government. And yeah, that's who we should put in office in 2025. They have the country's best interests at heart. Not once have any of them, all they're talking about, well, you know, is that we are not opposed to the Dragon gas deal. Well, hear what? We want to hear you all say, well done, Keith Rowley. Well done, Stuart. Don't come and say, well, we're not opposed to the gas deal. And we happy about the gas deal. So we want to hear you all say, well done, Keith Rowley. Well done, Stuart. They can't bring themselves to say that. They can't bring themselves to say that and would not see that. So they need to strategize. So they worry now. So we need to know what's the timeline when they're going to start infrastructure. What's the timeline when it is that they're going to, we could see the first gas. Because first gas means money coming into the coffers. And that means they have money, so road, win and pave. They can't come in 2025 and say the government now paving road. Because for the last 6 months and more, the government paving road. And it has been an ongoing exercise. So you can't come in 2025 and say it's an election gimmick. Because the government can say, but we've been paving roads since 2023. What nonsense are they talking about? All you saw the whole of 23 we paving road, the whole of 24 we paving road. We didn't start a pave road 3 months before the election in 2025. So Mr. Sudabias, they can't come with that in 2025. Can't come with that. Water. Look at what 61% of the population now, according to the statistics coming out of the ministry, 61% of the population getting water 24/7. And they dig in wells and put in booster stations in plenty of them UNC constituencies. All who complaining and burning tire. When last you see them burn tire to complain but they ain't getting water? When last? Because Marvin Gonzalez doing his work. Right? They're drilling well and more wells to come and more booster stations than any other. Ask them how many booster stations they commissioned under the Ministry of the Environment and Water Resources under Ganga Singh. How many? And before that, how many, Marvin? Record number of booster stations. So all who were getting water on maybe 1 or 2 days before, getting a lot of them getting it 3 and 4 days now. People who living on hills and complaining the water pressure load, my tank are full. Plenty of them smiling and they're happy now because the booster stations, water busting pipe, the tank full, they have no complaints, no issues. No issues. So all of that, they ain't gonna talk about that. Every time, almost every week, you're seeing Marvin Gonzalez on TV, on the papers, commissioning new booster station, right? New wells being commissioned. You think any of them wretches will come and say, well done, Marvin Gonzalez? Marvin said 61% of the population getting water 24/7. You hear any of them in the UNC come and say that is a lie? Any of them refute it? They cannot. They cannot, because even their own supporters in their own damn constituency and stuff tell them, yes, but we get in water. No. Every time I open the pipe, it has water. Like I could give away the tanks and them I have now because it's 24/7. Anytime I open the pipe, it have water in it. So no more protests, no more burning tire and burning road and complaining we ain't getting water and we want water going up sign. If they do that, they are nonsense. And more to come, but a whole year and more to an election, it will only improve. So by the time 2025 run around, we might see about 85% of the population receiving water 24/7. All of that hurting them. So they'll come about the economy in a mess and the economy in shambles. Tell them provide the proof for that. They can't do it. They could only talk that stupidness, talk that rubbish, right? Talk that garbage. But those of us who have eyes to see and ears to hear, we know differently. 7701763. No worry, we'll talk more on Tuesday, as I said. You see this here, boy? Shoppers continue to flock to Massi stores. Nobody have problems with Massi there. Let me get this here. Hold on, Jen, 1 sec. Jenny.
Hi, good afternoon, Dominic.
Hi.
It's good to hear your voice again. You were starving me, boy.
Yeah.
But I know that was feeling well, so I'm happy to hear your voice and see you this morning.
Yes.
Compliment to this is all those who are truly locked on. All the best, enjoy the day right now. I find Christmas to be spelled WORT. But I don't know where the word just come out from. But you know, family, my love and that kind of thing, family, friends, and all that. So I hope everybody have a blessed season. And we look for.
I should know this. Jen, call me back. I don't know what happened. These devices sometimes. Let me say good day to my good friend Ambrose Blanc out there in New York. It was Ambrose who had in fact pointed me out to this interview with these two guys. What is going on with this thing? Jenny. Hello?
Yeah, Dominic?
Yes, Jen, go ahead.
I don't know what has happened with this phone going.
I don't know.
As I was saying again, congratulations to Minister Stuart Young, the Member of Parliament for St. Anne's West, Porterspin North. On behalf of all the constituents, we are very proud of him. He's very hardworking, he's dedicated, and he's very patriotic. And he's led by somebody I always call the transformational leader.
Yes.
The Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley. So I'm not surprised that Dr. Rowley is able to have these type of ministers in his circle and who are really hardworking with the best interests of this country. I'm not surprised. Leadership says it all. Yeah, so again, congratulations, Minister. Congratulations to TNT. With regards to Wade Mark was trying to be useful. I don't even think at home he's useful. So the only place he does try to be useful is a camera in front of him and perform and talk a set of foolishness. David Lee cannot speak to me. David Lee's on $1 million bail for fraud. And in that he can't talk to me. When he clears his name and whatever he has, that is okay. As it is now, he's a man before the court. So he can't tell me nothing. He can't ask no question about accountability because he needs to be accountable to the court right now based on whatever they say it is alleged he would have done. I also want to say again, though, and you were very correct, those who say that we're hungry and starving, when you see the people out shopping, they didn't get the memo. And it's people who saying that who don't even live Trinidad and don't contribute to Trinidad. With regards to the Massi issue, people too hypocritical. I will tell you why I say that. Since we're small growing up, we used to hear about people doing, there's a word old people used to say, not semantics, no? Simidimi.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing simidimi. They're washing out the place with different oil. And morning you see the train water out there, busy when they mop out. No, I ain't say they're doing nothing here, but the point I'm making, everybody has some type of ritual or some type of routine with regard to the business. Whether on morning they kneel down and pray and say, Father, Papa God, help me to have a successful business this morning. Whether or not they decide to put it on blue or they put it on red. These things happen. This is a real world we in. So that thing with Massi, me ain't getting all hype up with that at all because Massi like it have more people now.
Yes.
So me ain't getting caught up in that. And Gervas Warner has been able to build that conglomerate. That is a black man. Why it is going at the black man? He has made millions and billions of dollars for Massi. And in my mind, one saying doing nothing to harm anybody and to hurt anybody. If that them thing that does do, plenty business does do it. Long time you say here, let's say people suffer to our business. You used to wash your sofa and throw the sofa water on the things. We used to hear vendors, market, used to have their water in the bottle and spraying on the food.
Mm-hmm.
That's things we used to hear. You used to hear about going up on the mount and who going on the mount to put things on people and who going to do people thing, who going to put light on people. People that's go up and they had a car and get holy water to rest in the car, all them things. Let us say we lie. Look, even on Synergy, let's have a pundit advertising. He could bring back your loved one. He go work black magic. Me and here, nobody complaining. If you walk up Frederick Street, you'll see them giving you a card, the heavy Indian accent, to come upstairs. They could read your palm. They could work black magic. They could do all kind of things. To be real in this world we live in, right? So again, I just want to say congratulations to the government. And as you have said, with that money coming in, if they could do so much with the little that they have, imagine when they have. And Kamil Ramarine, I see, in my opinion, as a big imps. Nothing he said does make sense to me. They had said it was alleged that he was not the most senior person to get no work in the central bank. There are people who were there, Sir Beckles, I think, or Terence Farrell, or what more senior than him. So we are here in junior. So that's what the UNC is about. Substandard, inefficiency, alleged corruption, alcohol. Look, right now as I end the Utah season, one of the top activists who said Kamala is his mother, they get on radio for things to eat. That's how I interpret it. He ain't getting nothing. He had nothing to eat. He data cut. He had money to pay data. Thing ain't going good. If you say Kamala is your mother, and she's the mother of this nation, and the best thing to run this country, and you're one of the most outspoken defenders, and you suffered, well, me I want to know what she going to do to people who is not she children. Like you all have a blessed Sunday, everybody. See you all on Tuesday, people. Eat and drink in moderation. Don't be driving drunk. Look out for the children. Look out for the elderly. Look out for the senior citizens, and everybody. Have a blessed one.
Thank you, Jen. Hello, good afternoon. Hi. And to you too.
Family. This dragon is a hemorrhoid beauty when he's sacrificed. What I did do today, I would have do today. When what for young dead and Robbie dead, they can do it. They offended that a black man didn't munch the condonia. The hate is so real. They're angry with themselves. We are, Prime Minister Rowley and George Young is pushing our country forward, right? That means revenue for everybody, better health,
yes,
education, roads, and security. So they can focus and now with a little bit of money. Think about the future. When this goes through, they get more money. There's so more people. You can build more houses. You don't have to borrow. Because I can't say, if I stop this trucker, whatever someone is, I poison you well to spite you, right? I above you. You know you. Would that be poison you? What do you want to leave? Who do you want to leave? Your thought as for humans. You're inept and incompetent. And I'm right. The next school field, Jacka. Sorry. Oh, sorry. So the next school field, walking, hemorrhoid. You want to know what? What you want to know? Explain to us, please, from the right. What have you done? You are angry, you're jealous, you for human, you're another one. Why do we hate this land so much? You got education, and free health care. What is Prime Minister do to you? Is it skin of sense to you? That a black man is pushing our nation forward. There's more oil in our land to be found there. There's more oil in this land to be found. But our nation has to turn back to the only true God. Right? We are doing nonsense. All of us do nonsense. But by continuously, what Tama does is curse this land. By dragging a coffin, Kamla and UNC, you also harm yourself. I said before, if I put poison in a dam to poison you, my family will do you double. Poison too. So if you think family is fighting only penny people, your whole is stupid. Your brain is a virgin. Everything used up to now. Something is wrong with UNC. There is no perfect party because you also are human, okay? But step back from the party support and see the greater good. If I do this, despite my nation will suffer, the welfare who will suffer. People put them down. For a couple of years ago, they don't for them would stand. They will suffer. People who came to support you will suffer. Those who have the money will suffer. The elderly will suffer. Right? Your IMF who will suffer. Your great-grand and great-grand will suffer if government goes to IMF. There'll be more jobs, right? No proper roads, no proper drainage, no proper health. So if you see people, hear me and hear me well, learn to think of your own. Do not drink Candy Fessa, Jim Jones, Kool-Aid, because she will not, when the Kool-Aid you're drinking from her. Be wise. So I'm having my Christmas and a Happy New Year, my darling. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. You too. I can probably take a couple more. 7701763. Trevor says political afterword. That's Kevin Fuller. Angela says in Cumberland UNCFBs wear their guard tabige on their wrists every day. Elizabeth Ramtahal says, when last we heard they come out and protest saying we want we road fix. They getting things now so they can say nothing, no water, all in their constituency. That is so true. Roads are being paved and you're seeing pictures. Just go on the Ministry of Works website and you will see roads being paved in UNC constituencies, but they will never come out. When the road was bad, you want to protest. When it good and it fixed, you think they'll come out and say, yes, look, call TV6 and say, come and see the road fix. Come, look, Rohan Sinanan doing work. They wouldn't do that. Hello, good afternoon. Hello.
Hi, morning, Dominic.
Hi, Carol.
Oh, it's so nice to see you out. Me was so afraid that I'm glad to see you out.
Thank you.
And happy birthday. I know today birthday for the 26th
yes.
Christmas style.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, I'm glad to know because my son is also a
oh, okay.
So I know you are nice. I want to tell it about Philip Alexander. He put something there on his, whatever you call it. And he is telling people that Rory is selling out, me is selling out, take PSD. I corrected him and said, no of PNTech. Right? That's the I that was teaching you that.
Yes.
100% by the government that by electricity gen is 51%. That man abuse. So they don't come on this line, his page, and do any correction. Because he knows. I like, so I'm like, just want to continue a lie to believe the truth. Or not to say believe, they know the truth, but just don't say it aloud.
Right.
Because you do such a good job, so you have to put lies here, and this is not just you to put out lies. And that's why it means I have to put off again. Continues with it. You know what I mean? Why you put out these things and you know it's not wrong with Alexander? Yes, it's really, really wrong with it. Anyhow, Dominic, with Christmas, happy to see that you're out and you're not bed.
Thank you.
Okay, have a good one.
You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Right. So you see that she tried to correct him, Philip Alexander, to give him the correct information. And what did he do? Abuse her. Don't come on my life to make any corrections. Why? Is it because you know what she's saying to be true and you're deliberately misleading people? Is that what it is that you're doing? Or you don't want the truth to go there because you realize that the truth puts the PNM in a good state. And this man wanted to be the prime minister of this country, talking about Philip will fix it. Fix what? Fix your dishonesty first. They really say leopard can't change it. They really say that, no. And then that's why when it is he was supporting that party between 2010 to 2015, and then all of a sudden now you are the paragon of virtue. You ain't fooling me. You're not fooling me. You're a charlatan. As I always say, you're a counterfeit 1%er, Philip Alexander. Counterfeit. You're not genuine, right? Just come up with lies to tell people because you know it have people out there who want to hate on the PNM and only want to hear things that makes the government look bad. So when people come in now to correct you and tell you, well, you know, and I'm certain Carol didn't go to him in any kind of aggressive way, just telling him these are the facts. And you wanted to don't come in your life to correct. And you know what? I'm sure other people would have seen, heard that, and would probably want to attack her rather than to tell him, hey, check yourself. That's why you're out of politics and you need to stay out of politics and you will pay for your lying mouth. Hello, good afternoon. Hello?
Hello, Dominic.
Yes, sir.
Hello, Dominic. How are you?
I am good, man.
Yes, man. I want to wish you season greetings.
And to you too.
Callers. A bright and prosperous 2024.
Indeed.
And maybe Yeah, good prosperous New Year. New Year. Right?
Yep.
Well, Dominic, I was expecting it room for the Christmas time, but things couldn't get back in. And the money, but when they go to Price Smart, Massi, Total, Extra Foods, tell you understand story.
Yes.
So you can just imagine what Carnival will be like. But finding the money now.
Yes.
Where people complaining that electricity rate was so high and property tax. I hope they can find the money to pay the bills and to pay the money taxes. Correct?
Yes.
But Dominic, I'm going to tell you something. Because people like you, I think they should take a page out of the book of the gentleman who said that he was going up against for a push.
For Naparima, Rodney Charles.
Yeah, the one who said people come on the morass and he tell people to vote TNM.
Yes, yes.
And during the local election, he had already tell people to vote on Morita and practice a little phobia.
Yes.
Remember that?
Correct.
Yes, well, apparently, we get it and freedom for my property. You know?
Yes.
This trippiness about things happening in this country. And Dominic, just last week on the news, I still feel people representing the San Francisco Chamber of Commerce. And she, let me use the word she, because I just saying that things are tough in San Francisco.
Yes.
Things are slow. And just a few years ago, Brian was telling you that things, even a corporate price give you, is different from what that person saying. And she has the capacity to say that the government has to open up the refinery. How many times you, Mr. Stewart, at the time I started to tell them that Patrick is not shut down, it is by because of four distinct organizations. What is wrong with the people like these people that can put their own funds at the chamber of commerce? They have no brains. But then again, I think that person probably wants what I put on the to run past it. Who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows? Because after a gentleman who said that he opened up an organization called the Noel and saying that he had no political affiliation. He said, how that turned out. Right?
Yes.
You have a gentleman for that program, right? For crime much. And he too had no political affiliation. You see how that turned out? Then remember some years ago, Takuba, he had a activity. He probably worked in MP doing data permanent. And I see the rest of the she joined the COP and she wanted to just after over. Remember that?
Yes.
Right. So these days I have to go to play now. Right? So don't you have a good day?
You too, sir.
Active.
Right.
Active transfer of information. I really miss you about it.
Yes.
You, Juliet, Mr. Master, or kind of way, you know? And show my way, you know? Provider. Good luck.
Thank you. See what else we have here. Hello, good afternoon.
Dominic,
leave it there.
What's going on?
I am good. How are you good?
Well, I'm holding on like the Baron.
Nice.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
And to you too.
My big sister, tell me good morning.
And good morning to her.
You know she don't like me to talk about Dr. Rolly, you know she at PNM.
Is that her alone?
I hear you going on bad in the barber shop yesterday, but you're singing and dancing.
Me? Oh, God.
I'm glad for you.
Yeah, well, you had to do something.
Hey, Dominic.
Yes, sir.
Let me run something by you.
Uh-huh.
Back in the days, the former Prime Minister told her supporters, go out there on television and radio stations and tell them all of the things that we did. Dominic, tell them all of the things that we did. And all of the things that they did, the people still voted them out. Dominic, the PNN are doing the same thing now?
No.
Or they are doing the same thing like the UNC, Dominic?
No, sir.
Hey, Dominic, don't answer that.
Well, I will tell you, you are correct on one score, that the people voted them out for what they did. But it was for all the wrong things that they did. That's what the people voted them out for. Brian.
So many compliments.
And to you too.
And to you and yours. And I hope this new year brings a lot more brighter things for you.
Yes, thank you.
And Trinidad and Tobago by extension. All of your listeners and callers. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Same to you.
Dominic, your last caller didn't understand that the wrongs outdid the little right that they did. And all the right that they ever did was to be there for 5 years, 3 months, and 14 days. They did absolutely nothing for Trinidad and Tobago. And this government has a lot we can talk about. Not only the government, but all of the people, all of the right-thinking people of Trinidad and Tobago have a lot that we can talk about, that we can see, that we can touch. Understand?
Yep.
So that's very lies the difference. After the caller before the last, my good friend, the lady down south named Daphne Bartlett, parroting what Terrence Singh and they're saying about business bad. But when you go down south, Dominic, I came into your program late today, you know why? Talk about traffic in Maradala. When you talk about the market, you have to park up a little less than a quarter mile away and walk.
Wow.
If you get up late. You understand? So to say that things ain't looking up, to say that things bad, and facade right obliquely opposite the market. People waltzing in and out. Cars like rain. What are they doing there? Lyman?
Yes.
Big Sunday morning? Have no church around that particular area to say that, okay, people in the church?
Yes.
Except these 7 days and they're far away. So to say that people are spending money up to last night in San Fernando, I mean, why do people have to come and propagate lies? For what? It really, really bothers me. Why are people not happy for Trinidad and Tobago to see the ordinary folks spending a little bit of money to make themselves and their families happy? It irks me to think that people will come and propagate lies and think bad and think ain't good, but they're checking the money and they're not leaving the country. They're still here. And they're opening the doors early and closing it very late.
Yep.
I went to Massi stores, good business this morning. I mean, come on. What is this about? Cards by the bank, people trying to work out how much money they could get again to go and spend. Come on. But Dominic, you know what hurts me? And there's a pattern. Because David Lee, who lives in Martin Central, does not have, that is the fraudster fellow, the fraudster fellow who before the court.
Yes.
For fraud. You understand? On $1 million bail, that fella, that fella I'm talking about, does not have a clue about oil and gas. But because he represents
Pointe-a-Pierre. He believes he's the spokesperson for what is going on. He's asking questions. David Lee has no clue. And there it is, as soon as it was announced on Thursday, the good news, well, it was really Friday, but the good news that Churchill had signed on the dotted line and they got a 30-year approval. You understand? The extract gas from the dragon field. They put on the suit and they come there quick. They even have time to put chair and table.
Yes.
To sit down. But they come there quick to perpetuate life. And they're demanding to know how much it costs. And they're demanding this. And they were demanding to know when it's put gas. And that dummy they call Ramnarine say that the government can afford to give an idea of when first gas will come. Really? Why he don't give an idea? CLU was just signed just last week, Wednesday night. Why doesn't he give an idea? But he wants the government to tell him when we will get first gas. How stupid can you be? It goes to show these people have no experience, no gumption. And I'm going to tell Trinidad and Tobago something, you know. There is a pattern with these people. Remember the, what you call it, the aluminum smelter? What I'm saying? Nothing. As you rightly said, remember Sandals?
Yes.
What I'm saying? Nothing. You know why? Because they don't want to see this government do anything that is good for this country. Remember the OPVs?
Yes.
What I'm saying? Where's the money? Where's the $1.23 billion that they got back? Up to now, nobody knows what happened to that money. Remember what Sanders, remember what Kamala Prasad Biseta said, Mrs. Bota? I am pleased. But me and him talking about what's the joke. Because he have more headache than anything. And he studying. And your partner from New York who just called you there, always talking about Guyana and Suriname. How come he ain't talking about Dragonfield? How come? Huh? Partner mentioned something about that now. We get the license for 30 years. Maduro would not even be in office in 30 years. But I ain't hear nobody talking about that. No congratulations. You ain't talking about when they try to attempt to put sanctions on the honorable Prime Minister Churchill, who for 7 years never gave up on their country, never gave up on us, and fought tooth and nail and used the expertise as well as the support staff to ensure that we reach this pinnacle. Now they're asking when gas coming and how much we give PWC. PWC is not there. PWC has been removed from Dragonfield. We are now fully in control of Dragonfield. Shell is moving at a pace. And you know what is great about this, Dominic? Because of what the deal that was made with the upstreamers, Shell and BP, with respect to 10% ownership of trains 1 to 4. The other oil companies, the minor oil companies now will have somewhere to put the gas to get a little money. Whereas before they could not do that because Trinidad and Tobago now is a shareholder in that business.
Yes.
And that redounds to the benefit of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And the downstreamers are extremely happy. The energy chamber is extremely happy. But everybody else, where are all of these economists and them? Where's Roger Hussein? Huh? Always quick to talk. Where is he? What does he have to say? Not even a congratulatory message from any one of them. But Ramnarine and Mrs. Bota was willing to give away our patrimony, our oil and gas to the upstreamers until 2024. Today, we would have been in the hands of the IMF. Just think about the people, if you did not vote the right way in 2015, where would we have been today? And this is making the rounds around the world. People are pleased. Everybody except you know who, Mrs. Bota and company.
nothing good to say about their own country where they reside. What a shame. Brainless set of people who couldn't even negotiate the foot. But thank God for Stuart Young, Minister of Energy, and Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley for his leadership in ensuring that he went straight through with this. And today, our Christmas gift has borne fruit.
Correct.
For all of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. This morning I hear on the news that the Tobago Chamber asked him to speak to Ola about crime in Tobago. You believe that? The same police that them don't want to come across there. The hypocrisy, when will it end? Dominic, enjoy your days tomorrow and Boxing Day.
Thank you, sir.
And all the best to you and your family.
And to you
and
too.
look forward to hearing from you on Tuesday. God willing. Take care. And now to all the listeners and callers, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Indeed.
Thank you.
Yes, they want to know when first gas come in because they would no longer be able to talk about no foreign direct investment coming to Trinidad and Tobago under Rowley. Foreign direct investment is in the minus. All of that will be a thing of the past. And there's no comparison that they could make because when they boasting, they built 6,000 to 8,000 houses. Kid Rowley could boast of more than that. All the housing developments that they left abandoned, this administration finish and expand. All of that. Ask the supporters, do a comparison with all the work that all they say they ain't doing nothing. Don't worry, soon enough, Manzanilla Road will be finished and it will be good. So all you had that to complain about the road to, the highway to nowhere that they dubbed highway to nowhere, the highway to Toko, all them things on stream. Remember they beating the chest because they did a bypass road for Sangi Grande, a little roundabout and something, and that was a big achievement. We have a whole highway going to Toko. So to all the people living in Toko, remember they say, all you living nowhere. All them things. Hello? 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 Yeah, so I feel the cough coming back on, folks. So trying to tell me something. Trevor says this outstanding PM and his government making all of them look like political dunces, and they are so true. That's what they can't take. They have no response. They have no answer. And I don't care what the supporters say. There is nothing that happened between 2010 to 2015 that they did with respect to the energy sector that could compare to what is coming with Dragon, Lauren Manatee, and any of the other gas deals that Dr. Rowley mentioned. The first of many that is to come. And that is what they can't take. Gas boom coming, and they want to get the filthy paws on it. There's plenty money for them to eat a food, drink a juice, and come with overinflated projects. 550 million for one interchange, and that same money we get in 3 interchanges for that same 550 million. But if they had stayed in office, if you all didn't do the right thing in 2015, it would have cost you 550 million and more cost overruns. But just take note, you've gotten QREP interchange, Diego Martin interchange, delivered on time, under budget, and you still have a 3rd interchange to get, Makoya, from the same amount of money that they wanted to spend for QREP. So when the supporters want to come and tell you rubbish, about what this government did, tell them that, remind them of that, right? The same Red House that they wanted to project 950 million, they budgeted, we got it for 441. State-of-the-art building, remind them of that. When the supporters come with nonsense, tell them go from here, rock so with that stupid talk, and plenty more to come. And they can't take it, some of them benefiting. 600 houses to be built, low-income houses, right? The government building it for you free of charge. Once you have land or permission to occupy land, you just need to bring sweat equity, bring your friends and family and tell them, come and put on some blocks and mix some water. And the government building house for you. But they're telling you, come for land for the landless. We're giving you permission to build. However you build, if you build a little wooden shack, you get some pallets somewhere and put it, and if the breeze blow it, it fall down. We don't care. But the PNM under Keith Rowley saying we're building 600 houses for low-income families. People who currently living in little board house, who got land for the landless under Kamla and couldn't build nothing proper. They get a few pieces of galvanized and so on and knock up something. But Kid Rowley saying we will give you at least a starter home, 2 bedrooms with indoor plumbing, toilet inside. You don't have to run outside in the middle of the night when Greg take you. Right? You don't have to be walking out with a can of aerosol looking for cockroach and all kind of thing because you're going in latrine. You're inside. You don't have to open your door and go outside. Right? You don't have to worry about playing musical chairs when rain fall and the ceiling leaking. You could welcome the rain and sleep comfortable like the rest of the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. 600 families. And if we average about 5 people living in each of these families, that's over 3,000 persons who are going to benefit from this. And that they want to tell you is voter pardon. Right? The government wants a voter pardon. So don't help the poor. They wouldn't support it, the government don't do nothing for poor people. That's what they're telling you. That chopping talk. Plenty only buying that nonsense. But plenty more things to come. Homestead program, 200 young people every year, 2 acres of land, start a home, money to start your business and support for your business too. What they offer you? Live sport. Yeah? Just come and sign, and at the end of the month, you collect a stipend check, but you learn nothing of value to advance you. And in the meantime, it's the friends, family, and financiers eating the bulk of the money. And the main beneficiaries, what all they get? Little to nothing. You will benefit in any way whatsoever, but under this administration, the same people, the government saying, come, 18 to 35. So those of you who got lost in life sport, come, we're giving all you a second chance. But we're just telling you, come and learn and then leave here. We're giving you a stipend to go and learn. You're getting the training, you're getting house, you're getting money, you're getting land. Ask the supporters of that party, what did you all offer that could compare to that? Not one blasted thing. Go from here with that ship it. Go from here with it. Let's see. Hello, good afternoon.
Anyway, I got that thing.
Yes, sir.
This is what necromancy, right?
Mm-hmm.
But another something. Do you recall the other supermarket? So you have the symbol of an elephant as a logo.
Can't remember what supermarket that was, no?
Right. You know that elephant has a mustache. Which symbolizes, well?
I wasn't aware.
Is it going away? It's not a format diplomacy.
Well.
They want to. But to study and think. What about all those so-called supermarkets? What is the tendency to move away from Massi and go to
yes.
and budget food? You see where I'm coming from, right?
Yes.
They're not talking about the cost and transit cost, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's not my necromancy. That's what who wanted to be financed for the city distribution, bread and water all over the forest.
Yes.
That's not necromancy. But they want to achieve the finance of the necromancy.
Yes.
In the fifth city. Right? October, the price is very low.
Thank you, sir. I'm going to take this last one. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Logan.
Yes, sir.
You tried season very well yesterday.
Yes.
I was supposed to explain you and crew. But you may have to make an appearance I paraded you and Grandma Knight from South. The toenail massacre.
That is Marvin.
You understand? But don't worry, it was appreciated by the rest of us who observed this experience yesterday.
Nice.
It's good to see, a good Trini backyard, long time, little house party. That's how the session used to start.
Yes.
I guess it will be replicated around the country in the coming days. But on the point I raised, I think that what people wanted, brother, is to get more certificate of comfort. Because I think it was last week that Minister Robinson Regis announced some more plus, right?
Yes.
Yeah, some more starter homes and so on. Proper thing. But perhaps people want to get the comfort and you're smiling while again. Which you can't take to the bank to establish any kind of equity or get any value for it.
Correct.
But yeah, there's people getting homes and so on, and it will roll out, like you spoke, a new interchange open, right? And well, I like the issue that Mr. Imwood gave from his work on the Ojujapas, and when he spoke about all the major developmental routes with regards to transportation and roads and so on, who would have done?
Yes.
Because the only thing they could boast about is in the period for down south is the development under Sadiq Basha crossing down there. Right? That is the major thing they would have done. And that predated the partnership administration. So what could they show in terms of development, rural development, any kind of sort, right? I like this week when in the winding up of the finance bill, when the Prime Minister Imwood laid the bare facts on the table with respect to property tax.
Yes.
And indicated how much a minimum wage owner will do as security guard, how much they will actually be paid.
Yes.
1,200. And they keep talking about the property tax as if people will be paying the annual amount one time. It's a monthly thing. Right? And the truth is honest with themselves that they can't bring themselves just to say that. So they bring about property tax like I saw a meme going around on one of them social media sites and I responded to it. And I said, all the places we like to go and worship when I went to Toronto, I went to Montreal, I went to London, I went to Antwerp, I went to Switzerland and so on, Lausanne. All these places run on what, Dominic? Property tax.
Yes.
NYC, to live in NYC, one of the major cities in North America, your Patreon knows the Orlando's we love to go, the Tampa, the Fort Lauderdale, Miami, everything looking nice and clean, but it's property tax paying for that, in addition to sales tax and other tax, federal taxes have levied on these citizens. And they pay.
That's right. That's right.
They pay because it affords them a standard of living, cleanliness, police response, and so on. Right? And boy, to listen to the tripe and pudding from people like Nakil and Glider and somebody as seasoned as Wade Mark. Well, I mean, that season still, eh? You know what I mean?
Yes.
But hard, but I just want to say, my brother, take care of the cough, buy some sea coconut, African sea coconut, you know what I mean?
Yes, I got that last night.
I hope you enjoy the festivities in moderation, like myself, and we want some good cases to coming through to the last week of the year into 2024. And look forward to assisting in the work of educating people and keeping this country on how it needs to be in order and progressing. Who can see that? So be it. But we will keep our eyes on the prize and over the horizon because we know it's only better days are coming.
That's right.
Take care, my brother.
You too. Right, so folks, thank you all so much for joining me today. Yes, somebody say Lama, go and check my hand before it so again, enjoy your day tomorrow, the rest of today. Those who are making your final preparations, have a great one. And well, I know how it is for some people, the house still in a mess, but come 12:01 Christmas morning, it's as if by magic everything worked out well. Thank you so much, Pauline. Yes, I will try to enjoy both days. Trevor says garlic. All right. Angela says thanks for the best Christmas present, not playing Keenan Roberts today. Let me just see who this is. And then again. Hello. Hello.
Dominic.
Yes, sir.
My career used to be boasting on different programs. How it's not corruption in the PNM. And nobody could talk about corruption in the PNM. I told Aisha one day, I'm going to shut him up. And I showed Aisha two things. Dominic, I showed Aisha two things. From that, Baratalia stopped talking about that. He shut him out. No corruption with PNM. One day I will tell you, but not today.
All right, leave it there.
I will leave it there.
Leave it there. Right, yes, and I will leave it there too. Nicole says, not too much garlic as it lowers your blood pressure. Use more expectorants like citrus. Thank you so much. Thank you, Carol. I will try. I will endeavor to enjoy it. As I said, I don't normally celebrate my birthday, but we'll see how it goes. People might have plans and so on. So feel free to post some. Well, we look forward to some pictures of the food for tomorrow. And as the previous caller said, don't overdo everything in moderation. Let's have a good one, people. Keep it safe. I want to have all of you all still here on Thursday, when we will again continue the discussion. God's willing, remember the reason for the season, as they say. And so again, enjoy the rest of it. And God's willing, we will be back on Thursday morning. So that's it for me. See you all after Christmas. Yeah. Joysten Smallwhite, Shell Hadaro Lambert, will do. Rena, thank you so much, Rena. And all of the other folks on YouTube, Facebook, thank you all. So Thursday. So, just come out of this here. Let this thing know how much to go by.